a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, January 2023, with Tesla stock just over $100 per share.
Tesla shares, we just showed them to you, down 6% as we head into the open 15 minutes from now. That may drag down the entire sector as well. The company cut prices on some of its vehicles in the U.S. and Europe by as much as 20%. Tesla may be looking to boost its sales this after it did fail to hit its delivery target for 2022. Still impressive, of course, with sales up some 40% year over year, Jim. But these are the key models. They now fall below the price level at which they will now be eligible, or consumers will be eligible to get some of the tax benefits available under the Inflation Reduction Act as well. So that could also stimulate sales for Tesla.
Well, let's go into this. Let's talk about the fact that, let's use Ford Motor, okay? Ford has got the F-150 and they have the Mach-E.
The F-150 Lightning, of course, Jim's referring to. The same F-150 Lightning that cumulatively, since first deliveries began in early 2021, has sold just over 30,000 total units. The same F-150 Lightning for which Ford announced that they're halving their goals for 2024 production, aiming to produce up to about 80,000 units, meaning cumulatively, if successful, from first deliveries commencing at the beginning of 2021 until the end of 2024, about 4 years of cumulative sales, Ford aiming for a little over 100,000 F-150 Lightning sold. Of course, Jim certainly couldn't have seen this coming. Oh, and in unrelated matters, Jim's supposed charitable trust, which, I mean, if you guys are curious, I don't even know how the guy gets away with calling it a charitable trust, really. Just use a search engine. Try to understand exactly what that even is, because it's not what you'd think it is based on the way he describes it as being a charitable trust. But last I recall, and quite consistently, Ford stock has been the number one position in that supposed charitable trust, the trust that Jim controls, which of course wouldn't cloud his judgment or influence anything he would say about Ford ever. I'm just pointing out that unrelated piece of information.
70% of the customers they were possible Tesla customers. The Mach-E's direct Tesla competitor to the Tesla Y that's being cross-shopped. I bring all this up because what's happening is Tesla makes about $20,000 a vehicle. So they have plenty of margin to give away to tempt people with a lower price vehicle. So what they're doing is actually kind of using the old Henry Ford Model T position. They're cutting price in order to be able to keep their market share. What's interesting, David, is that therefore the margins are going down. They still make a lot of money, hence the downgrade today to sell up. Now, also in California, there is a major negative for Tesla customers because big Mach-E spike there. Big Mach-E spike.
Now, Jim did have a point about Tesla having industry-leading profit margins, giving them lots of wiggle room. They've certainly exercised their right to drive prices lower to keep selling through production. As for the Mustang Mach-E, Jim's currently referring to, with a bit of an increase in sales in California. Again, his comments from Q1. Let's see how the quarter ended. The year prior, in the United States, the Mach-E sold a whopping 6,734 vehicles. The following quarter in the United States, 5,407 vehicles. But hey, maybe things are better in Mexico. Yeah, a whopping 12. Good job. Apparently 2 were sold in Colombia. That's impressive. And now, for the same quarter in which Jim was pointing out that, well, look out, Tesla, Mustang Mach-E's coming at ya. The Tesla Model Y, 85,000 units sold in the United States, representing a 43% share. I'm just trying to find that Mustang Mach-E. It must be second place. No, that's the Model 3, third, that's the Bolt, fourth, Bolt, no, fifth, ID 4, sixth, Ioniq 5. Oh, there we go, the Mustang Mach-E. 3% share of the same category in which Tesla's Model Y owns 43%. Again, I just wanted to point this out for some context, given Jim's comments versus how things have played out since.
So I am saying, yes, there's actual competition for the first time.
Right.
And there's price cutting.
The Model 3, the Model Y, these are sort of some of the key ones, obviously.
Look, you compete on price. He makes plenty of money per car. And so he's competing on price, but the Model Y has not been updated in a long time.
Holy Jesus. So let's be real here. The Model Y is constantly improved and updated incrementally. This confuses a lot of people who think that that's not how it works because it's the car industry and therefore you have to release a new model year vehicle every year and that's it. One change per year. A few more cup holders, change the color of something, bam, you're done. But the Model Y is a brand new vehicle. It's only been around for a couple of years. And in fairness, there will be a massive refresh to Model Y. My best guess, probably about 24 months from now, similar to the Highland refresh to the Model 3. But this is such an irrelevant point. Well, the Model Y hasn't been refreshed or updated for a long time. The question is, if that was true, would that even be relevant? And the way you might answer this question is Tesla selling more Model Ys today versus yesterday on average? Have they been doing that for an extended period of time? The answer to those questions are yes. And is the Model Y currently the world's best-selling vehicle by unit volume? And the answer to that also would be yes. So on one side of this intellectual equation, you have, it's getting a bit outdated. They haven't updated it in a while. And on the other side, you have best-selling fucking vehicle on Earth with sales still increasing. Moving on.
It's a dominant player, though. I just think that you have to accept the fact that the world has changed.
You mentioned
Tesla has real competition.
They have.
Well, there you go, folks. I can't argue with Jim Cramer. Tesla has real competition, which is why the Model Y is not the world's best-selling car. Why in the same quarter Jim was pointing this out and even emphasizing some of the supposed competition. The Mach didn't have 4% of the segment at the same time in the same quarter that Model Y had 43%. It's also why consumers just can't wait to get their hands on all of the electric vehicles being produced by Ford, which is why Ford have literally halved their production goals for their flagship electric vehicle, the Lightning F-150, the electric version of the best-selling vehicle model in the US for years in a row, why they've halved their production targets for 2024.
Real competition, but to what extent has that already been reflected in a stock that, as we know, is down some, 70% from its highs, Jim?
So, interestingly, David pointing out, hey, Jim, Tesla stock's down an absolute ton. Seems a little bit overdone. What do you think, Jim?
Normally I would like to be able to opine on that better. A lot of this, I think, rests on the fact that these were overnight price cuts.
Yeah.
Overnight. So it's going to cause you to it takes your breath away a little.
And again, to your point, you have sort of...
I just can't not, bro, on screen. I mean, look, when this went to air with Tesla stock at $116.23 per share, over the prior 1 year, Tesla stock was off 66.2% from its high. I think David rightly understanding, hello, what the f***? And Jim, who obviously is a very smart guy and an incredible investor, doesn't quite seem to be on the same page as David, who really seems to be insinuating, does this make sense? I mean, hello, this seems like a deal, but I can't say that. I don't get in trouble. But Jim, please, is this a deal? I mean, the stock's down an enormous amount. What do you think, Jim? Remember, this is Jim Cramer, who fires off his opinions on buy this, don't buy this, like a machine gun. Usually very much willing to tell people what to buy and sell, where he apparently sees value. I mean, if you watch my channel regularly, you'll have heard me. I said the same fucking thing every single day for months. In fact, quarters in a row. Doesn't make sense, won't last, in my opinion. Best risk-adjusted opportunity in the stock market that I'm aware of. I wasn't joking. And as I record this, Tesla stock has well and truly doubled and then some since this absurd deal of the century.
As always, differing views. Guggenheim does downgrade Tesla to a sell, saying the numbers are far too optimistic.
Can you imagine being Duschenheimer and downgrading Tesla stock to a sell when it was just over $100 a share earlier this year? That either takes some serious courage or severe brain damage.
We still haven't gotten the fourth quarter report. We got deliveries and production, but we didn't get the actual earnings report from Tesla. And they say $89 is their price target. Why? Well, sizable gross margin miss in the fourth quarter
of 650 basis points
by the dilutive impact of price reductions already, and they feel like this year's estimates need a reset. They're well below consensus on gross margin at Guggenheim. That's at least a part of it. At the same time, Dan Ives says, hey, you know what? This price cut is going to actually stimulate a lot of demand, and we see a higher expectation of revenue growth.
Okay, the problem with Dan Ives' analysis is what have we never had to see? We've never had to see a price cut to stimulate demand.
I am doing my best to try and take Jim seriously here. What we'd also never seen at this point in time was rate increases at such a staggering rate. Never happened before. And you guys understand the difference between increasing rates from 8% to 8.25% and the difference between increasing rates from 0% to 0.25% and then 0.25% to half, right? I don't need to explain the difference between those two things, even though the same quarter percentage increase, right? Same number, but very different implications depending on whether rates are 0 or 8%, give or take. The magnitude of the rate increases from the Fed, never before seen, but that's beside the point. although it does influence consumers' willingness to purchase big-ticket items, especially ones they finance, like vehicles. Most of the world's automotive manufacturers have been in a steady state for decades, selling the same number of vehicles this year versus last year. Yeah, there's a tiny bit of variation, but they're not in hyper-growth mode. And none of the world's automotive manufacturers that I'm aware of had a publicly stated plan of starting with high-priced, low-volume vehicles, then moving towards moderately priced, moderate-volume vehicles, then moving to low-priced, high-volume vehicles. So again, this goes to air Tesla stock down an enormous amount, from all-time highs about 75%. Over the prior 12 months, down over 65%. And Jim, buy this stock, don't buy this stock Cramer, with the deal of the century before him, in my opinion. I mean, the most obvious of obvious, other than going, oh, you know what? Yeah. Buy. He's trying to conjure up a reason why, oh, yeah, well, you know what? It's all could be bad. I mean, they're cutting prices. I've never seen that before. Uh-oh.
This company had this field to itself. I think that I'm debating in my head what you said, which is, isn't this why the stock is falling so much? But the one thing that we don't know is, what is he doing right now?
What's Elon doing?
Yeah.
At this very moment, I'm not sure.
Well, what is the possibility that he's not as focused on his car company? I mean, remember Jack Dorsey?
Well, that's...
The downfall of the Jack Dorsey empire was the fact he was doing 2 jobs. This man's doing 3 jobs. And I am sure that Twitter is taking some of his time.
There's no doubt that Twitter is taking some of his time. He's only one man. He probably only sleeps 4 hours a day.
Have you been in the BMW EV?
No.
It's unbelievable.
Oh, here we go. Elon's distracted. And P.S. the competition. Have you been in the BMW EV? It's amazing. It's great. It's really just hard for me to understand what Jim's on about here. This is the same guy who's telling people left, right, and center, buy this, sell this, buy this, sell this. Bear Stearns is fine. Don't take out your money. Don't buy Tesla stock. You don't even want to rent Tesla stock. Back in 2010, never shy about throwing his opinion around on particular stocks. Out of absolutely nowhere, he just seems to want to direct the conversation toward Tesla's got competition. Have you seen that BMW that no one's buying? Have you seen that Ford that no one's buying? It's just weird. I mean, Tesla shares, with the stock around $100 a share at the start of this year, it seemed like the lowest hanging fruit of all time, even if you're bearish on the company. And the really sad part is a lot of people bought into this narrative. I won't name any names, but I'm sure most of you folks can recall a few of the emotionally unstable dumb fucks who panic sold Tesla near $100 per share and explained why they were panic selling Tesla near $100 per share. The reason I'm revisiting this is just, this was less than 12 months ago. Tesla stock, as I record this, it's around $250 per share, more than doubling.
Have you been in the Mustang Mach?
I haven't, Jim, no.
It's incredible. Have you been in the GM Hummer?
I have not, Jim.
It is outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, I can't take this guy seriously. If I were wearing a tinfoil hat, I might suggest that, for whatever reason, Jim was attempting to misdirect regarding Tesla. But of course, I'm not wearing a tinfoil hat, and I just think that Jim Cramer is, I'll just be honest here, a high IQ idiot. He doesn't understand what he's talking about. Hummer EV is amazing, is it, Jim? Despite purporting to be an investor. Jim's talking about this apparently from a fairly biased consumer's point of view, because if he had his investor hat on, Jim would know how big the battery pack was in the Hummer EV, well in excess of 200 kilowatt hours, will have done the math on that and realised the absurd cost and the astronomical weight that this thing's lugging around. He'll have also realised the low volume interest on such an overpriced, obnoxious, gigantic vehicle. And he'll realise that GM will never make money on this and they'll never sell these things at volume. Therefore, it's going to be a money loser for the company. So with his investor hat on, Jim would be saying, oh, the Hummer EV is cool, but GM's going to lose money selling it. So I don't know why they're doing that from an investor's point of view. Is Jim being honest here? I can't tell. I really can't. I mean, for what it's worth, again, if Jim had his investor hat on, he may have had different comments. But in 2022, 371 Hummer EVs were sold. 2023, year to date, as of the second quarter, 49. Interesting that Jim was throwing out a bunch of legacy automotive manufacturer names and not mentioning, say, the example, the Rivian R1T, right? Whose sales are pretty pitiful, but hey, in comparison, not terrible. The R1T in 2022 sold 10 times as many units as the incredible, amazing Hummer EV. And in 2023, year to date, had sold close to 8,000 in the first half of the year, with the Hummer EV under 50.
I always hated every other EV. Suddenly, I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing with an ICE?
Really?
But yeah, because these car companies are delivering EVs that make me say, you know what? This is no longer Tesla's. They still are the dominant player. But the other ones that are coming out, wow.
And that is the key.
Wow. Indeed. You do have to feel for the people who watch CNBS as their source of investing wisdom. You hear Jim Cramer, he's on TV, therefore he must know what he's talking about, explaining that the competition's coming and how incredible some of these supposed products are that consumers who vote with their dollars clearly disagree on, otherwise they'd be buying these things in much larger numbers. You just have to shake your head. And I do feel bad for the people that rely upon Jim Cramer and others as opposed to doing their own thinking. It still boggles the mind that with the opportunity of a lifetime to bang the drum, Tesla, just over $100 per share, the beginning-ish of 2023, you have folks like Jim Cramer explaining how wonderful the vehicles being produced by legacy automotive manufacturers are. Yikes. Don't listen to Jim Cramer. Don't listen to CNBS. Don't listen to analysts. Don't listen to the mainstream finance media. Don't listen to dickheads on YouTube. And by listen, I mean, sure, hear what they have to say, but don't allow anybody to plant a conclusion in your brain without you having done the thinking to draw the conclusion independently. Too many people rely upon fake experts to do the thinking for them. It still boggles the mind that there were people who owned Tesla stock at the beginning of 2023 who panic sold. Now, why did people do this? They had not done the thinking. They may have thought they'd done the thinking, but clearly that was not the case. Many of these people still currently in denial. It's not my fault. It is your fault. You're an idiot. That was utterly moronic. Inexcusable. You probably learned that you're not cut out for investing. Just the facts. Now, just between you and I know hope is not a strategy, but I really had hoped when Tesla was around $100 per share that it remained that way for a long ass time because I'm still buying. Now I'm paying more than double what I was able to buy for early this year. I'm still buying with every spare cent. And the reason is because I've done my own thinking and looking to the future. I've modeled Tesla out, thought about different scenarios, probabilities of certain outcomes, and I still believe Tesla stock today is the best risk-adjusted opportunity in the stock market that I'm aware of. And I have zero interest in what the stock market is currently paying for Tesla stock, only in what I think Tesla stock's fair value is. And if there's a discrepancy, I continue to load up on what I see as an enormous opportunity. How's that saying go? When the tide goes out, you find out who's been swimming naked? Well, I think we certainly discovered this in January 2023. We had analysts advising investors to sell Tesla stock when it was just over $100 a share, claiming that they thought its fair value over the next 12 months was $89. You had folks like Jim Cramer pointing out how incredible and amazing it was to sit in a Hummer EV or a BMW EV and the competition's finally coming. Oh, and watch out, Tesla's in trouble. They're selling a few Mach-E's in California. And we also discovered there was a lot of people who thought they were investors who didn't have much of a thesis to stand on. And when the tide receded, they found out how fragile their supposed investment thesis really was and learned that they really are not cut out for investing. Never forget, if you haven't taken the time to create your own valuation model for Tesla, to spend the time to invest the mental energy to determine what you think the company is worth, what its future prospects look like. When people are fearful, panicking, uncertain, when supposed experts are talking about how incredible the competition is, how Tesla's in big trouble, how no one's ever cut prices before, you may be prone to making regrettable decisions. I just wanted to close with this, something I posted not too long ago here on X. We're looking at Tesla stock annual performance since I began buying. Obviously, 2023 year to date still underway, but close to a doubling. In 2022, Tesla stock down for the year 65%. In 2021, it was up almost 50%. In 2020, nearly 750%. 2019, up 25%. 2018, less than 7%. 2017, almost 50%. And in 2016, down nearly 11%. Clearly, this is quite a volatile stock, but at the same time, the overall trend is pretty clear. Now, if the stock market was a perfectly rational, reasonable, and logical determiner of what a company's true value was, you would think that movements on Tesla stock would map very closely, in fact, identically to the company's performance and increasing value. But that's clearly not the case. There can be long periods of time where what investors are paying for Tesla stock or any stock is completely detached from the company's underlying value. Again, this is why it's important to build your own valuation model. And if you don't know, I do share my Tesla valuation model, available on Patreon to supporters at the investor level and above. Not to tell you what to think, but just to show people how I think about Tesla, its fair valuation, and the assumptions underlying that fair valuation. Vehicles produced, gross automotive margin, FSD revenue, percent of the fleet using FSD, blah, 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 blah. Link in the description if you want to join Patreon. And as you can see on screen now, the annual percentage change in Tesla stock since IPO, in just 2 years, there was a negative return. And in every other instance, Tesla stock has seen a positive return. Some years, a mere 7 or so %. Other years, hundreds of percentage points. One of my favorite examples of the insanity of the stock market. In 2019, you could pick up Tesla stock split adjusted for less than $12 per share. In 2015, Tesla's low for the year was actually more than $12 per share. If you're listening to the mainstream media and the likes of Jim Cramer around 2019 with Tesla stock under $12 per share, you might have thought, oh no, the competition's coming, plus Tesla's going bankrupt. But if you'd built your own valuation model, you might have thought, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Time to back up the truck. There is one final lesson embedded in this data. In order to have a brain big enough to know exactly when to time the market to trade in and out of Tesla stock, you would surely have to be the single most intelligent human being to have ever lived. Of course, past performance can't predict future performance, hence why you all need to make your own valuation model. That's the best you can do instead of listening to these so-called experts, including dumbasses on YouTube, myself included. If you take the time to think about this company and develop your own valuation model, you'll at least have a North Star and a rudder to help you navigate the ups and downs. Or you take the lazy path out and listen to folks like Jim Cramer and some of the geniuses on YouTube. So the lesson, folks, use your fucking brain. And I actually mean use your brain. Do your thinking and draw your conclusions, please. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. It's an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. It certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point. It's something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy, wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1 shit, is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, This is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, snake oil salmon sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link at the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links at the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon, and don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.